No, I haven't. It sounds fun though.
Is it though? I don't know.
Did someone play Surgical in Eldrazi?
I just told Kai I was asked to do it because when we had like a lot of tournaments in Europe, and basically every single tournament they asked me to do a deck tech when they had a stream. And then at Eternal Weekend 2017, I want to say, they once again asked me to do a tech tech. So I sit down, and then Riley Knight comes over, who was the commentator. Then he looks at me, and he had like done 2 deck techs of me before on previous events. He looks at me and he's like, "Not you again." Like, I'm sorry.
Elves again.
It's like, we're not going to do the third elf deck tech. So we grabbed a random person walking by and asked him whether we can borrow his deck for like 10 minutes. And then we literally just made a deck tech of that guy's horribly built Eldrazi deck.
Nice.
And like Riley was like, "Please don't trash talk it too much." But he also like, you don't have to take credit for the worst choices. So I was like trying to navigate it, and
I mean, that's the hardest part, right? Like if the deck is like so messed up, and like you have to be kind of nice and just go like,
like,
I played this very good. Yeah, I played this very good card as a 2-off just to play around Surgical or some shit like that.
Yeah, we kind of sold it as like me playing something different this time, and I was like, oh my god, like not this, like nobody's ever going to believe that. It's just
and then your opponents are watching the stream, and then they're like, "Oh, I know what you're on," and mulligan to something that gets like,
you know, that actually reminds me of Birmingham, because in Birmingham I literally had a guy come up to me right before the tournament, and he showed me his entire deck. And he was like, "Hey, do you have any suggestions? Anything I can change?" And like, I looked at it, and I gave him a lot of advice and help and everything. And like, would you believe it? It's like, I don't know, like a 1,800 player tournament. First round feature match. Actually, I had a bye, I believe. Second round feature match. I'm paired against that guy. And dude. I sit down, and I didn't know his name, but then I saw him, and I was like, "That's that guy from like 1.5 hours ago." And I fucking can't remember what he played.
Oh, God.
Lord. And you fixed his deck, no?
I fixed this deck, and I literally, like, I sat down, and I was like, how do I not remember what this guy was playing? And he was actually playing Blue-Black Painter, and I was playing Elves, and I won. And I remember, like, in the second game, during the second game, I really had to go to the toilet, like, incredibly badly, like, really badly. But it looked like I was gonna win, like, every turn was like, okay, now I'm gonna win, And I was like, I really need to ask for a break. I can't hold it any longer. And he just like kept doing, and then he had another blast, but he just couldn't get there. But also, like, for me, it was clear eventually I would get there, but I just didn't know when. And like, it would be the most horrible thing if I asked for like a 10-minute break, and then I come back, and then like one turn and I win.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I thought it ends with like just you shitting your pants, and that's the end of the story.
If it had been like a third game, I would have asked for a break. But yeah, it was like, you know, sometimes you play these garbage time games that hang on forever because like you're basically like 2 or 3 outs ahead, so they need to like top deck 3 times, and you need to literally draw shit 3 times. It's just like that's not happening. And
that was a nice I won 2-0 brag right there.
Yeah, and then I didn't make day 2. Like, that was one of the most horrible tournaments I ever played, because I played against like elves, legacy elves, 4 times in 9 rounds on the first day, and you know how it's like.
Yeah, I hate elves players. They're just the worst.
Yeah,
make you want to quit.
I mean, it's just a race, no? Like, is there like any interaction between those 2 guys, like 2 decks?
And elves, not so much really. Like, sometimes I would think that I would like proactively natural order just to have more fat on the board. So I have like this big 5/5 that can block. So you natural order for non-lethal and put them really low.
My interaction is natural order.
Yeah, exactly right. And then you have like a big wall on the battlefield. So if they natural order, then you can like buffer it and only take like 12 damage, and then you enter this weird stalemate and.
God, what is the concept of
that's like Julian's advice, just put a bunch of like vaults on the field. That's how you win a bunch of games in Legacy.
That's how you do it. No, but you know what's the trump card? The best card in the mirror match that I never had the balls to actually play?
Elder Scale Worm.
No, there's a time walk that has flashback for the Elf's mirror.
Oh, like the fog.
Moments Peace.
Moments Peace, bro. Really?
Can you imagine, like, your opponent, especially in the after Death Ride era, you see Moments Peace and you're like, oh, I'm not going to win now, and I'm not going to win the next time.
Oh, wow.
And everybody sides out. Better. You know, people also side out all the Graveyard Hate in the mirror match. Like, why would you keep it? So it's just like, it's so next level, but I never had the balls to do it. Hey, with that, hello, Mr. Anuraag Das. Anu, how are you doing? Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm clean. We haven't started recording yet, have we?
We kinda, but we usually...
We're already 5 minutes into the pod.
Oh, snap. Okay. Well, yeah, I was taking a shower, so I wanted to look my best, and then I realized it's audio only, so...
Yeah. You're just like me. Like, I went to the bathroom and I brushed my teeth because I was like, oh, yeah, I'm talking to people now, brush your teeth and everything. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
I mean,
Julian is a cruel coordinator. He just presses record when you least expect it. And poor new guests who haven't recorded before is like into the deep end. Here you go.
Okay. Also, Anu's shower pics can be found on the Patreon, right? That's how it works?
That's what now?
Yeah.
Patreon.com/everydayjournal. If you want to support us as well as the previous 200 episodes, this one is episode 201 of your favorite, most deceptively named bi-weekly legacy podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We got Kai, we got Callum, we got Julian over here, and of course, Anuraag does. If you don't know him, you're going to get to know him over the course of the next hour. We are so happy to have you join us, Anu. We're probably going to skip everything that the three of us did during the last 2 weeks or something, because I know nothing exciting happened to us, any of us. Is that true?
I've done loads, actually, but let's carry on.
Yeah, for sure. So, should we do I always hate it when people drag out the intro of the guest way too much. Like, Anu is famous, he's great, he's one of the pillars of, by now I want to say, the Magic community for a long time, of the Legacy community, the Eternal community. I've known him for, I want to say 11 years now, right? I recently watched a video where we first met at GP New Jersey 2014.
Oh, that was fun.
That was a long time ago, right?
That was so much fun. I remember it, though. Yeah, it's been a long time, which is great.
I want to say you started playing Legacy right around that time, or how did you get into the format?
So it's funny because I got into Magic back in 2014. I was playing other card games. Nobody at school played, so I switched. I started with Standard, played that for 3 months, saw Birthing Pod in Modern. I was like, ooh, this is nice and shiny. Switched over to Modern. Then I saw Brainstorm, cast my first Brainstorm, and then it was over. At that point, I was like, I can't play anything else. Legacy is the sweetest.
That's how you get hooked, right? And if I remember correctly, you did not start out as the player that most Legacy players got to know you, like the Miracles player, Control player. But you started outcasting Show and Tell.
Why?
Legacy.
Really?
Ooh,
we really have to do it like that, huh? We have to do it.
You come in, we're already recording, and now this.
People usually pay for your OnlyFans to hear about that, right?
Yeah, so funny enough, my first 2 decks, I only played them for I'd say a month each, was, it started with Deathblade. Do you remember Deathrite turn 1, Stoneblade turn 2? Yeah. Then my friend at school played Devastating Dreams against me, and I was like, oh baby, I'm a 4-color player now. And then I was I think this was around the era where BBD and then was it Brad Nelson, they were all playing Sneak and Show. I was like, you know what? Time to bandwagon. And I played that deck, I think for 9 months. It was fun, powerful, but there was a moment at the end of 9 months where I went to my locals, my opponent cast him to Torok, and I realized I have no agency in this game. So I told myself I'm going to pick the most complicated deck with the most options, and this is also, I've cited this a lot of times, but it was actually a Reduke article that inspired me to make the switch to Miracles, and ever since then it's been all Control every day, all day.
Oh, so we're free to blame for all of that. Everything we had to sit through. Cool. So, dude, there's so much to say about you, seriously. I think if people want to learn more about you, I think we had you on the podcast previously. That must have been several years ago, but I'm pretty sure we did. But right now, I want to say you have transitioned, right? You both in your private life as well as in your, well, at least Magic professional life. But I think the most interesting thing to me right now is what happened to you during the last 3 years, because my impression has been that a lot of things have changed for you, right? I don't even know if you still live, and I think you lived in San Francisco?
Yeah. I'm based out of the Bay, and it's great. I enjoyed it a lot. Moved here in 2021, kind of in the middle of the pandemic, and then a lot of stuff has changed for me with regards to Magic. And wait till you hear the end. Post-pandemic, Magic was slowly coming back. Star City announced their first SCG con in what is it called? The casino. Valley
Vegas?
Forge. Yeah, Valley Forge. No, not just any Vegas casino. It was Valley Forge in the middle of Pennsylvania. King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, to be specific.
Close enough.
Yeah, so if you're wondering where that is, it's just in the middle of nowhere. That's where it was.
Nice.
Isn't that like a common theme for Magic tournaments all around the world?
Yeah, it's cheap. Hey, that's what's important. But yeah, Star City was like, we're not doing any coverage. So everyone was like, what? How can you say that? How could you do that to us? And they were like, why should we? And they weren't really wrong. They didn't have like a financial reason to do it. So I brought a podcast, like I brought one of those like, what is it called? Selfie sticks and a phone. And after that was a basically 3 to 4 year journey into this like rabbit hole of audio video production. And honestly, like if I had to describe myself as a person now, it's definitely like I am a broadcast producer for TCGs before I am anything else, which is, I mean, that just shows you, right? Because like I remember like I'd literally, okay, don't tell my boss. I'd be, playing Magic Online at work. I'd come home, go into my group chats, talk about Magic Online, go play more, start streaming, play more, and like from 5 to 10, it would just be Magic. And now it's
anyone in the Miracles chats can confirm that's exactly what happened.
I like that you use plural miracle chats. There were like 5 or 6, I don't know.
At least.
I'm on number 8 right now. It's funny. But yeah, it's been a massive shift in like my focus and my relationship with the game, which isn't a bad thing, and it's something that I think is honestly it's pretty cool. I really do like the whole story behind it. Yeah,
it's been great to watch as well. I remember like you posting about trying to sell it out. I don't even know what the technical term is, but like to get Wi-Fi in, as you're going around, you had to buy these backpacks full of Wi-Fi, like cut data coverage and stuff.
Like 5 kilograms of Wi-Fi or
Yeah.
something. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Hope it never runs out.
And I was
yeah.
like,
no.
God, that sounds exhausting.
There are a lot of things that went right over the years, and a lot of things that went wrong over the years.
I can imagine.
Oh, we're going to get into those because that's something
Finding
I'm
out
really
about
interested in.
trial and error is like got to be the best way to do it. If you come out the other side, okay, I guess.
Yeah.
Because you know why you're not doing it, rather than just being told you're doing the best things.
Yeah.
So one thing I'm curious about is how conscious of a decision was that? Because you talked about this, right? You were into Magic, into Legacy specifically, like very, very much into it. I think you did. Didn't you do that challenge of like 1 year of streaming every single day, and you took that really seriously and you made it? And
Well, really seriously is kind of a stretch. There was one day I remember where I had my friend log on to my Twitch channel and do the broadcast, but I was live every day. Technically, I was live every day. Yeah.
that, you know what it reminds me of? I remember like we used to produce. I think we did like 2 seasons of the Legacy Premier League together. But in the very early seasons when it was Mike Overvoltage, Mike Danielson, and me. We had 1 week where, who was it? Joe Lossett, another Miracles legend, literally legend, couldn't make it. So we had his friend log into it and also like play his round for, well, I'm going to reveal it now. We had 1 round in the first season of the Legacy Premier League that was not actually played by Joe Lossett.
My God.
Oh my goodness, dude.
Wow. Drama.
I think you just clickbaited like the video that came out like 10 years ago.
I'm
Nice.
unwatching everything.
Dude, yeah. It's like the clicks gonna like spike up like crazy now.
Dude, one day we're going to do an episode about like what went wrong in the first and second season and everything, because that's also hilarious. I remember like Sean Maria Card Liche actually timed out because he didn't know that like Magic Online was timed, that our tournaments were timed.
Yeah,
Actually,
right.
I think he did know, but anyway, that's going way too deep into that. But yeah, I wanted to go back, like how conscious of a decision was that by you to say, okay, I'm gonna step down from. At the time, you were the biggest Legacy streamer in the world, which honestly, I guess admittedly doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of streaming, but for us in Legacy, it meant a lot. And you walked away from that. And I think that's a big thing, because to me, that's inspiring. How conscious was that?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because like at the beginning of this whole coverage thing, there was no incentive to do it outside of it is important and it must be done. You know what I mean? Like these are monumental games in the history of Magic that need to be shared with the rest of the world, and it just needs to be done. And like it's also like one of those things where it's like I remember back in the day, right? You wake up on Saturday, you turn on Star City, you watch 12 rounds of Standard, you go to bed at 1 a.m. You wake up the next day, you turn on Star City, you watch 12 rounds of Legacy, you go to bed at 1 a.m., and then you go to class or something like that. That's what it was like for me, right? And I was like, all the emotions, all the fun I had, it's always important to like be able to give that to the rest of, the community, right? Like, because, I mean, that's what it is at the end of the day, right? Like, Magic is... always about the people and like the stories and that are being told in tournaments and things like that. So that was kind of what it was, just like a sense of like duty and kind of I did enjoy it, so I continued to do it. At that time, it was both together, so it was coverage and it was streaming, and I don't know.
And you were also a podcast host at the time.
Oh yeah, that too, yeah. I'm not sure, like, it was not a conscious choice to sort of switch from one to the other. If anything, it's more of like, watching the sand go like down an hourglass, right? Where it's like bit by bit by bit by bit. One reason after another. I will say like the health of today's format definitely does play a part into why I am where I am, but then also major personal things too. Like last year, my son was born, and like raising a kid, as hard as people tell you it is, it's even harder than that. And plus, like, there's time I want to be spending it with him, over almost anything else. And so it's like it's one of those things where it was like gradually it just happened, There's
only so many hours in the day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Cool. But you just mentioned this is the thing that you identify with the most on, like, I guess a professional level. Like, what are you right now? You're a TCG game producer. Is that your full-time job now? Because from what I understood, you still used to have like a full-time job, and then you did this on top, right? Yeah,
so I'm still like a PM at a consulting firm. This is by no means something that I would say my full-time job. But it is something that I can no longer consider a hobby. So, like, in fact, in 2022, like, one of the big landmarks for me was, like, I realized I did this whole thing for, like, 11 months. And in November, I was like, well, I need to figure out, like, so I'll just be blank. In that 1 year, I think I spent $50,000 traveling, paying for casters, paying for internet. Yeah, just, like, all out of my pocket. I don't really talk about it too much because it's whatever. That was
that's a huge tax headache, I would guess. Like, how do you work that out?
You read my mind. And so for that reason, I started an LLC and then tried to, handle taxes by myself. Point of order, do not do that. Get an accountant. It's just worth it. It's so much worth it. Yeah. Anyways. Yeah. And so that was like maybe the first milestone where I was like, dang, this is like, there's like something to it. And slowly and steadily, like, the jobs got more intense. One of the events I went to was like a DreamHack 10K, and I was just doing my own thing. Somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, like, we weren't planning on broadcasting this. We saw what you did yesterday. We want to stream the top 8. We don't have anything ready. Can you make it happen? And for like the next like 4 or 5 hours overnight, like, I like cranked out an entire broadcast stack for them so that they had something to show the next day. Yeah.
I love that story.
Wow. Oh yeah. And that's what it always is. Like, in every aspect of life, it's like, do good work, but you also need a little bit of right time, right place kind of thing. And so that was the event that got me hired as the producer director for the regional championships for DreamHack, which was crazy.
DreamHack is a really big deal. Like, to me, I first got to know DreamHack through StarCraft 2, basically, when it was like this big esports game. I guess it's not so much anymore. But I watched all the DreamHacks, at least for StarCraft 2, and there were like tens of thousands of people watching. Like, I want to say maybe 80,000, I don't know. But like, DreamHack is a really big name. Is it still like that? Like, did you not only like stream Magic, but also like all the other stuff they did then?
No. It was just Magic. It was just for the RCs. So it was like, I think it was 6 shows a year, and that was for 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
Just kidding. 2 years. 2 years.
To me, that's just like so impressive because I've seen what you do. You went to Europe, I want to say like 2 years ago, right? When you produced the Eternal Weekend coverage in Prague. And to me, one of the most lasting memories is that picture you eventually posted where you just walk out after all the work is done and you have like these huge, I think they're called like pelican cases, and you just like lone cowboy riding into the sunset, another piece of work done. and going on, and nobody knows how much work actually goes into that because
the savior of coverage.
Yeah,
kinda, right?
Yeah, I know, I will give credit. Like, I think coverage today is like way better than what we had a few years ago. So I don't want to pretend like I've done anything crazy or whatever. You know, like I would, like, for example, like Inigo and Impact. You know, like that coverage squad is so good. I'm super excited for the European. The broadcast coming up soon. There's a lot of cool folks out there doing a lot of great work. So there, by no means is it just me. But yeah, I do think that for all these folks, like, small time operations, there's a lot more that goes into it that you just don't see. Like, first in at like 7 a.m., last out at like 9 or 10 p.m. So it's a lot of work, but no one would be doing it unless we like really enjoyed it. So there's also that too. It's a lot of hard work, but it's fun. Pays off.
Yeah, passion is how you get into it, but then you also got to make the numbers work. And I think that's another big leap that you have to take. Where you're like, okay, let's do this the right way, and not just like, I don't know, wing it financially.
Not paid in exposure as well.
I still remember when you had that one tournament. Which one was that? Where you arrived and then they were like, oh, by the way, if you want to do this, you have to pay like $2,000 or something, and then you created that Kickstarter that the community pitched into.
Yeah, that was like one of the most like heartwarming, both like shitty but also heartwarming experiences. It was Eternal Weekend 2022, and it was in Philadelphia. Normally it's in Pittsburgh for the past few years, but in Philadelphia, unions are just totally something else. And when I got there on the venue on the day of, like, they walked up to me and they're like, "Hey, you got to pay us $5,000 in order."
$5,000.
Yeah, $5,000.
It's like an underground sea.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Just like, they charged me 10 underground seas in order to do it. But the community like came together, and it was through them that we were actually able to enjoy the broadcast.
Yeah, I remember that now. Very cool.
On such short notice, even that was crazy to me. Huh.
I think it's showing that like the people are, well, I'm about to say something which I think I disagree with, but they're willing in a way to give money to, I guess, independent people or smaller organizers or smaller broadcasts. But at the same time, they don't want to subscribe on Twitch too much. But like the people watching are willing to donate and give money to a good cause to watch the broadcasts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, dude, one thing, I don't want to get too much into the technical stuff of it. That's super interesting to me, but I'm not sure if it's super interesting to most of our listeners. But generally speaking, I was curious if you could go back to like, let's say the beginning of the pandemic, or when you really started into getting into broadcast production. What were like some of the earliest mistakes or the mistakes that you kept making for the longest of times until you had some kind of like, level up moment where you realized, oh my God, why haven't I been doing this that way when I've been doing it this way all along? Like, was there like anything that you would tell yourself from, let's say, 4 or 5 years ago that you should change or do differently?
Yeah, I think like I have a deep regret, like a deep regret, and this isn't like
this is good. This is good.
Well, this is
I
like
hear him say like, don't do it.
This is like a
Julian.
big content strategy thing that I failed at. And looking back, I wish like if I could go back to the very beginning, I would completely switch it. And it's not going to sound as profound as anyone is expecting, but it's just. Screw Twitch. It should have just all been on YouTube. Like, yeah. I should have, like, 100% YouTube is like the platform that I should have been on to grow my brand. Because now, like, I just feel like, especially with my lifestyle, I don't have time to just like dedicate a 4 or 5 hour block during the middle of the day to, streaming on Twitch. It's just too intense. Whereas YouTube, there's a lot more flexibility. I mean, it's a very different ball game, and you do need to have different types of content. But also, like, it's a pretty well known. I don't want to call it a fact, but just it's pretty well known that like if you want to grow your brand, you always go through YouTube first because just discoverability actually exists on that platform and not on Twitch. And then the other thing that this is kind of hard to like.
Art is good.
Yeah, it's like a I don't, what's the best way to explain it? A little bit of a like a maturity thing that I failed at, which was like I didn't really want to let go of this entire product that I had created it. Like in the sense of like I think it's a lot of times I think I'm a bad boss when it comes to this stuff, because it's like someone will do a job and I'll be like, okay, let me double check it and make sure, right? And at that point, it's like, well, why are these other people here if I was just going to do the, like the work myself or add an extra level of things, right? So it's like, I really should have done a better job of building out a team of people and just like entrusting them with a lot of responsibilities. So like, for example, there are two folks that I think are very fantastic, and a lot of the coverage that I do would just not be possible without them. So that's Richard, who is my friend who, is also passion project minded and he lives in the Bay, does all this coverage stuff with me as well. And Amber, who's based out of Seattle, also passion project, just does a lot of this stuff as well. And the two of these people, like, I can't do a show without them. It's almost like it's like a crutch, but like, not exactly, but like, I feel like I cannot do a show without them because they're just so damn good at what they do. And I wish I had found these people back in 2020, because a lot of people were asking like, hey, I'd love to help, I can show up. And I was like, you know what, it's okay, don't worry, I'll manage it. I don't want to impose. I should have taken that Anu, slapped him in the face 3 times and been like, accept the help, just do it, because then there's no reason for like one person to ride off in the wind cowboy style. There's really no reason, but it was like something in the back of my head which is like, I want total control, I want this, I want that. And only recently have I started letting go, I'll say. I think with Richard and Amber showing me how good of a job they've done, like I'm very much so like at ease. And even now, like I mean, they can attest, like there's a lot of times where I'll still be like, hey, what happened here, or is this correct, or blah blah blah. But like, I'd like to think that I've improved a little bit compared to where I was before. So like those are the two main things. I think one is like a macro like strategy sort of thing. Another is like my personal like what I've learned to do kind of thing. And I guess you guys know I'm a control freak, so like
I feel like the second point is like, it's just like so you, because like having everything under control and like double checking everything, that's like so Sensei's dividing top counterbalance lifestyle, you know what I mean? Like it's not you don't trust anyone, like you have to look at the top 3 cards and then just see if everything is all right kind of thing,
Never shuffle the ponder.
Yeah, dude, never ever. So yeah. I was wondering, so back then, were there any services, is it called Restream, I think, where you can like stream on multiple platforms at the same time? Like, was that not a thing back then?
I think it was, but it's always just a function of like money, and so a lot of the money that I had at the time was spent towards like travel, but then also just like literally like figuring out like, what equipment do I need to actually get this job done? And at the time too, like my brain wasn't even wired to think about like, okay, like, what are the important like directions that I need to head in for, like not now, but like 6 months in the future, like, because doing all this stuff is great, but like you have to find a way to make it useful for you as well. Otherwise, like, you're going to have nothing to show for it at the very end of it. And so I wasn't even thinking about that stuff. I was basically just trying to get like from one show to the next. And, I'm sure all these services existed. I just didn't have like the foresight at the time to really dive down and realize like that's more important than maybe like, adding a different cabling solution for, my phone or my camera or something like that. You know what I mean? Like it's like needed to prioritize a lot better for sure.
I was going to say, like, figuring out priorities, like not only in Magic or professional life, I guess it's a little deeper, but like in life as a whole, right? You have to be somewhat pragmatic with choosing your priorities, because if you want to do everything perfect, just like not gonna work.
I also have this moment a lot. I also like even nowadays where I'm like, okay, as long as I'm doing something, I feel like I'm doing all right kind of thing, but like I forget to look into like 6 months ahead or like a year ahead, and then I'm just so stuck into like the things that I do at the moment just to keep me busy. And I think that probably like you had that moment too with your work too, because it's so much work, right?
Yep. Yeah. When you're designing a product like this, it's just like everything falls on you, and it's especially me. I've definitely realized like I have like I can't focus on things like without like I'll jump from one topic to another. So like for me, it's like I have to like get at least one thing down at a time, but then I can lose sight of like the big picture. I'm sure like I'm ADHD coded in like many ways, but like it's just like one of those things where like I couldn't get everything done, probably because there was just a lot to freaking do, but then also because like, you know, like I'd get lost in like this task or what I thought would make it better, when in reality, like, you know, what I thought was correct wasn't actually like the right thing.
That actually makes me wonder, that's also one of the next questions that we have on our show notes here. Is there any kind of innovation that you brought into the space that you are really proud of? Because, for example, I remember many years ago, we talked about like having some kind of background music in playing on the broadcast, right? Because I know a lot of other esports do that. And I think, I don't know if you ended up doing it or not, but that brought me to that question about innovation, right? Because previously, before you came into it, I want to say for like all the time that we had streams, they were all the same. It was like BDM and I don't know, like it was just like everything was the same. And you changed things up a little bit. And I'm curious which innovation you're proudest of.
There's a lot of things. There are a lot of key like canon innovations that I think have completely changed a lot of the way I approach things. So first and foremost, the most important thing that ever happened for coverage, like when I was doing my stuff, was meeting Jordan Baker. This is he's like tech dev judge, like network expert, like coverage god, I would say, who just taught me like basically everything that I know, like learned or knew, until I started like branching off and doing a bunch of like other crazy stuff. He basically showed me a lot of like the core techniques for doing coverage and things like that I wasn't really applying to my first and third and second set of broadcasts. And the big thing that I think that like he kickstarted was the whole like back end solution, which I think is a lot more which doesn't get talked about a lot, but it's like very important. I'm not going to get too technical here, but like thanks to him and like the conversations that it kickstarted, he like I've created like a giant like script, or rather hired a friend to create a giant script server like coverage hub that really handles everything and also enables a bunch of features. Like if you would think about like how, you know, like Reaction, the company that does the Pro Tours, like how they do stuff, it's like my version of that, which probably isn't as fancy, but like it's still really, really cool to see. And it's constantly growing, and especially as we expand to like other games and things like that. But yeah, I think like the software side of things has been incredible to see, because you know, it started with like, oh, I'll have the Stream Elements app open on my phone and I'll use that, to, you know, okay, well, now I have like 3 computers. Every time I go somewhere, I have, you know, a 24-port network switch, 12 cameras. I have like, you know, like you need to have some custom solution to like tie it all together. That is really, 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 really cool. I think the other thing that really like pleases me personally is the truss, and this is like a relatively recent thing, but something about feature matches that I've kind of realized is important is that when you're watching, you know, like I can like hide cables under a curtain, and you know, you'll never know, and it'll look great from the stream. But what's really important too, and I didn't think about this, is that when you're on site, the feature match needs to like feel like a feature match, right? Like you want to be there and you want to be like, holy shit, like, yeah, this is my moment. It's time for me to pop
I made
up.
it. They picked me.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So the truss is something that I think that really does like elevate that experience from the standard, like, oh, we've got 2 bars over a table held up by, you know, some C-stands and things like that, into like a more cinematic sort of experience. I don't really know how to say it better than that, but it's like it just feels more epic, you know. And that's something that is insanely more expensive, insanely more time intensive, but insanely more of a payoff. Like it just makes the whole product truly feel like someone's gonna come by and be like, whoa, that looks sweet, you know.
Yeah, I can say it makes it feel like 5-10 times at least more special.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is like for everyone though, like because if you get picked for the feature match, like there's probably like plenty of players who are like, you know, who are really stoked about being the dude on camera, but at the same time, like they probably also face a lot of pressure, right? Like, okay, now I have to play very tight, like tighter than normal, I guess. And like,
Yeah, no, you're right.
you know, I have like, you know, I don't know, like maybe I don't know, 30 something players like watching on the venue, and then 20,000 million people on stream, right? So I don't know if this is like for everyone. You know what I mean? Because it's almost it's kind of like staying up on stage, and if you're not used to be on stage and be like an entertainer, then I mean, you don't have to be an entertainer, but like you have to kind of, you know, do your thing properly. So like I was wondering, like, if you know, if this, like if that also had like an impact on, if your setup had an impact on players maybe even saying, hey, I'd rather play on a normal table than instead of a feature match table.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I don't think there's like a big delta between like what my actual setup looks like for that specific thing, because I've had people who are just like, you know, back when I was like potato camming, right? They'd be like, you know, I don't really feel comfortable being on camera. I just have a huge headache today, or whatever reason that they'll give. And so I always give people the option to like decline feature matches, and that's just like an official thing. Like up until like top 8, basically, Tournament Protocol says you can decline feature matches if you so want to. But I don't.
Does it happen a lot?
I would say like it's. So
I'm just very curious. Yeah.
It happened once this past weekend. I'm trying to think if it happened at Eternal Weekend. I don't think it happened in Eternal Weekend, but I'd say like once like every other event probably.
That often? Okay.
Yeah. So there are a couple people who are just like, yeah, I don't want to be on camera. Like it's like whatever. And then, you know, I know for like Star City, for example, it's like their policy is like, all right, you can say no, but once we get to top 8, like we are going to show you in the finals. Otherwise,
who knows, man? Maybe they called themselves sick at work, you know, and just showed up.
My friend is a teacher in Bavaria, and he used to always skip school on Friday to go to all the big legacy tournaments. And when I uploaded his videos on YouTube, because I recorded some videos on 2010, which is like way long ago, like 15 years ago, and I had to shorten his name to his initials because his students, they found out. And he was playing Dreadstill at the time. So all of a sudden, like, he collects their I don't know, exams, tests, whatever, and corrects them. And one of them just wrote Dreadstill rules or Nikitin wins, because Dmitry Nikitin was the Russian player who managed to beat him in one of the tournaments, and that was on camera. And I uploaded that, and they didn't know anything, but they saw that Nikitin beat their teacher. So they wrote Nikitin rules all over their exam the next time, and he collected them, and at home he was like, the fuck is going on? And from then on out, he wanted me to censor his name because he couldn't see his face back then. We weren't that advanced.
No, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that, because that happened to me like a month ago, where someone was like, hey, I was just wondering, can you please remove my name from this video on YouTube for like an MXP event from last year? And they were just like, I want to keep my personal life and my private work life like very separate. And I was like, I just unlisted the whole video because I was like, all right, yeah, I'm not gonna, you know, do something that would cause an issue or whatever it might be. That is that's the only time that's ever happened, but it has happened, so I'm not shocked to hear it. Like,
dude, I know some people who from the very beginning have used a completely different name for all of their Magic life than what their real name is. And I was traveling with one of them, and he accidentally dropped his health insurance card into my backpack. And when I was at home, I pulled it out, and I was like, I have never heard this name ever, but it has my friend's picture on it. Like, the fuck? He was like, oh yeah, I've been using a different name for like the last 10 years. And before that, I was also using a different name. And it was just like, yeah, okay. So if you have the foresight that one day you will become a famous big Magic player, but you want to like keep those two lives separate, I guess.
And I always thought that Magmalore 2000 was your real name. That's
dude, 3000.
3000 shit.
I mean, look who's talking. Like, only one of us changed our name here. Right. I changed his name, right?
Oh, but does he tree fork? Oh my goodness, dude.
No, I meant in real life, but that's a different story.
Okay.
And I don't mean by marriage. Anyway, dudes, we already kind of actually, before we get into that, I want to ask one quick question, because that has always been a big source of inspiration to me. Have you drawn inspiration for your broadcast design from other games and the productions of other games?
Oh, 100%. I'm deep into the League of Legends like IP, and I used to watch those like LCS, and I still watch like Worlds every year.
Isn't Worlds like this weekend?
Yeah. It is. And so like looking at how they do things, like studying like their transitions, when they play music, when they switch to a different song, when they have a different cut, like how they do everything. Like I've implemented a decent number of things. Like for example, like on static slides, I'll have like a deck list, right? I'll have background music on there. When we go into the match, the background music goes away. When it's just a cut to the casters, you have music on. When or like the different types of like transition styles. Like for example, I think last year I looked at how long their transition was when they were cutting from one scene to another, and I timed it, and it was like sub 1 second, and I was like, okay, well, why is it like this? And then applied those sort of like internal thoughts to my broadcast. And also just like even like there was one recently that I saw that was great. It was for Marvel Rivals, and it was just stunning graphics, and I was like, what makes this very exciting and interesting? And I haven't yet like applied any of that to my stuff, but like there's a lot to learn from the people who do this stuff like at a much larger scale than I do. So always eyes are open, because I know everything can improve drastically at any point.
Yeah, and it really shows in the quality of your production. I think you are one of the biggest forces, as far as I can tell. Like there are probably people who can say more about that. But in my eyes, you've pushed Magic coverage, especially Legacy coverage, so far that basically we wouldn't have imagined in my wildest dreams. Like when I look back into the very first video coverage streams, or even just like recorded VODs, this is just, it's not even night and day. It's just like 10 years later or something, literally. So
yeah,
awesome. Dude, one thing you already alluded to it kind of earlier. Tell us about something that went absolutely horribly wrong. Maybe something that viewers didn't even notice at the time, like your worst nightmare experience at any kind of production that you have done, because I'm curious about that.
Yeah, so for me, I think every show that I go to, like the biggest thing is always like networking, and that is always a headache, always stressful. So for example, in a few weeks, I'm going to Vegas to do a Riftbound coverage for their 10K event there, and we're not being given internet. So over the years, I cobbled together like this makeshift like jetpack solution, which is like, you take a bunch of hotspots and you combine them together, and then you have like a single output that, is strong enough to stream. But it's like sometimes one of the hotspots randomly dies, and then like we get the top 8 and my data plan has ran out for one of the hotspots, and then I'm limping through the top 8 where I'm like just constantly dropping frames, and like nobody feels the pressure of that failure more than me, because I literally just stare at the number and I'm just like, okay, I need to like look away, and I need to find out a way to fix this besides just looking at the problem, like that kind of thing, right? And I think that's something that like the viewers would like definitely notice on their end too. Like a lot of the times when something happens, there's like a direct impact to the broadcast, and that's largely a function of like the teams usually just being like very, very small. So for example, Reaction might have like a 20-person team or something like that does the Pro Tour. We have like 3, sometimes 2. And when something goes wrong, then it's just like, all right, well, we have to pause this, go back to this, and then something else might go wrong. It's a lot. It's very intense. But yeah, networking is always terrifying.
When you say you have sometimes like a 2 or 3 person team and they have a 20-person team, is that a 20-person team only counting production members, like not commentators or anything, just like literal production?
Yeah. So I got to see like BTS for PT Phyrexia, and they had like, when I went behind the curtain at the Pro Tour, it was like 40 computers, like 20 people. Now they have like some fancy $10 million truck that they just put all their equipment in, so they can literally drive their millions and millions and millions of dollar systems to around the country. You know what I mean? Probably cheaper than flying it all, but yeah, like these full on crews, like I'm so jealous of what they can do. But budget is budget, so is what it is.
Maybe one day we're gonna have the Anuraag truck.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there was one other story I remember distinctly, and that was like in the early times. So when I first started, one of the things that wasn't like something that like might be taken for granted right now, but was definitely not the case for me when I first started, was just like even getting permission to stream, right? Like, so I had to like reach out to all these TOs, and I had to be like, hey, like, I'd really like to come to your show, and I'd like to broadcast it. And they'd always respond with like, oh yeah, we'll have to take a look. Nowadays, you tell them, and they're like, oh yeah, we've already got X, Y, Z set up. Come by, feel free. Backpack. Just let me know what you need. That kind of thing. We'll have an area for you. Blah 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 blah. But back in the day, like literally, I think I would be given like a chair.
I think I remember hearing you say this, and I was just like, how are these tournament organizers like not letting you advertise for free? It's crazy. But
yeah,
I guess no one else was doing it, so it was a bit of weird, like just unsureness, I guess.
That was the end of the sentence, by the way. A chair. Like, that's what I got. Like, in some of the first few shows, right? When I didn't get, like, my own area.
And you'll be happy with it.
Yeah. So I had to, like... chair. I had to pack my own table. I had to pack my own power solution.
You had to bring your own table to a tournament?
Yeah.
Like, the tournament center couldn't, like, dedicate a single table to you? It's like, no, okay, Anuraag, you're gonna fly cross country, but could you bring your own table, please? We got the chair locked in for you. That's easy, but the chair, the table, yeah.
Yeah, no, and it sounds crazy, but like in the defense of the TOs, and maybe I shouldn't be, but I will. Like there wasn't a protocol for this. No one had ever done anything like this before, so they're like, all right, well, we can't like dedicate this space to you because we didn't put it in our floor plan, and like this stuff gets planned way in advance, right? So what we'll do is we'll let you sit next to the players at a fixed seat. We can do that, but that's it. Like that's all we can really do for you. So I had to bring like a table that I could fit in my backpack, and then the worst. So this is the actual horror story that happened. Power was not something that I got either. I couldn't just like plug into a wall.
No
or something.
Black Lotus.
Yeah, that too, right? Yeah. So I had to pack like 13, 14, 15 like battery packs to charge my laptop,
oh my goodness,
my cameras, all this sort of stuff. And then I'd go back home overnight and I'd charge everything. I had 30 USB cables, and sometimes at hotels I just wouldn't even have enough plugs to like plug into, which is crazy.
They wouldn't have enough power. Like the whole hotel like would be like a blackdown. It's just like blackouts, no power for you. I remember like it's so funny when you mentioned it. I remember when we used to produce the Legacy Premier League, and you had to fly to Washington, and then you had to buy like an ironing board and like several computer screens because you couldn't bring them, and then like you returned them the next day just because you were so dedicated. You wanted to produce the show tonight, and I think you had to go there on short notice or something.
Yeah, it was a last minute work trip. I remember that too, and I remember the photo too. The photo is actually just delirious. Like the degree to which we went to that one I remember, like the hotel that I booked for that week, I chose specifically because they guaranteed I'd have decent internet. But like I had never jerry-rigged a crazy solution together like that. That was like maybe the first time I had truly like sparked some creativity into a hardware solution that should not have existed by any means, but Frankensteined its way in. So
I'm pretty sure I got the picture still somewhere. Maybe I'm gonna drop it in the show notes so people can check it out. That was something. But
what ended up happening was with all these battery packs, one night, it was just a really rough weekend. I think it was like Baltimore show or something like that. I was so exhausted, I just collapsed in my bed and forgot to charge some of my power cables. And so on the next day, it was horrible. It was like, all right, using this battery pack, I've got this one on reserve. As soon as this one depletes, I'm going to swap it over and make sure that we don't completely lose, all of our power here. And by the time we got to like finals, like 3 of my batteries were dead. I had like 20% left total, like on something, which burns out really fast. Yeah. And so it was a race against like, if it was like a control mirror in the top 8, I'm pretty sure the broadcast would have just died mid-finals because I just wouldn't have power. Yeah. So like that one was like maybe the most stressful, like, can this tournament finish?
So for logistical reasons, like the semifinals will have a time limit of 30 minutes. Good luck.
Can you guys just like split, please?
Dude, I don't want to talk too much about me, but I've literally been asked that by a TO because the top 8 went too late. So when we got to the top 8, and it was like a really big event, I guess I can say it now, it was a card market event, like 700, 800 players in Modern. And we made top 8, and I was so positive about my chances to win the whole thing because it was back when Ad Nauseam was like broken and everybody played like, I don't know, Scape Shift and stuff. And I was so positive I'd win the event. And then they offered, like the head judge walked over, standing next to the TO, and he said, okay, the tournament organizer has offered a special incentive. If the top 8 gets split, everybody gets €100 more. And I didn't want to do it, But like they were like basically like the head judge was a good friend of mine. He told me, yeah, so it's because of like fire safety thing, and if you go beyond midnight, you have to pay for another whole day of fire safety, and it's way more than the 800 euros. And we ended up like splitting the top 8. Yeah.
Play in a bar. What the hell?
Yeah. I mean, that's how it used to work for the old PTQs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when it went really late, like people would go to the hotel lobbies and they would literally play for a PT invite, just like in a hotel lobby.
Get the Anuraag van down to stream it. It's fine.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, one more thing. I want to say the most asked question on every Magic stream is, who chooses the feature matches? And why do you always show Blue-Black Reanimator?
Oh my goodness. Okay, look. This is not my fault, okay? I'll explain. So the problem with feature matches is like it's really hard when there's a deck like VV or when there's a deck like Blue-Black Reanimator, where like an overwhelming majority of players are playing it, and especially in day 2. Like, I want to show the cool stuff. I want to show like Alurin. I want to show like, Pox, like I want to show
Pox a lot on the Eternal Weekend.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, we see Pox, you put Pox on, but then what happens when you choose Pox? Because it's like, I mean, you're not going to not put Pox on broadcast, but of course, you're playing
behind the scenes. Anuraag was like, no, we're going to put a Reanimator mirror. Me and Julian were like, no, let's get Pox. No, it's not what happened, I promise.
Yeah, so it's like the opponent of like when you get paired up, like they'll just be playing some really, really super boring deck. Like, it's hard to guarantee like that both decks are good. And one thing that I also like really prioritize when feature match selection when it comes to this is like tight turnaround. The whole judge program and the rest of the operations team, like if we take 5 minutes to scour and find like a slightly better feature match, that delays the tournament significantly. Like, imagine like 5 minutes, times 9 rounds. You're adding 45 minutes to the entire day, not just for the broadcast, but for literally everybody. So it's like, sometimes it's like, you go into the end of round and you're like, okay, I'm going to flag these 3 people and we just need a tight turnaround. It's like, we've got one cool deck, but then the popular deck that nobody wants to watch is going to show up in some of those and kind of just have to bite the bullet. Yeah.
I can see that being like really the biggest motivators. Like, like, file it down to like 4 or 5 good options and then just be like, you got to make a decision quickly. It's just, and you can't always make the perfect one out of the whole field because you just don't have the time to look at it, I guess. And then there'll be other factors like you don't want to have a match that's too quick. Like, sometimes you'll have Oops versus, I don't know, Elves, and Oops just kills them on turn 1 or 2 quickly. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good point too, which is like sometimes we kind of just need to have like long matches because we always operate on a little bit of a delay so that if something goes wrong we can fix it, but then also like nobody wants to watch 7 minutes of sideboarding, and players are pretty egregious about it too. Like, there was a data study that we did for while we were doing the DreamHack stuff, and it was like we saved like 3 hours on the broadcast or something by doing that when we added up all the sideboarding time and stuff like that. And it was just like, it was actually insane that that the standard was just to like sit through it, many years ago. I mean, you got to be live, but like,
that was almost revolutionary. Like, I remember the Switch, like, I hate downtime. I hated watching it, but it was just part of the experience. You just like watch them shuffle away and watch them shuffle for, it felt like 20 minutes every single time they cracked a fetch, let alone sideboarding, shuffling there. And then they're almost ready and they're pile shuffling. You're like, God, come on, just play. So it really changes the watching experience for sure. So it's so worth it. Yeah. Talking about watching experience, I wanted to ask you about commentators. So like, you're hiring them in a way. So it's, what is their job? What is your expectation from them? And do you have a preference in commentating style? Some you can have the format experts and you can have the hype generators in a way. Do they change based on format? Like, for me personally, when I watch Legacy especially, I don't find the kind of the hype but color commentators too great, too interesting in it. I like, 2 experts talking side by side, but I think that probably doesn't work for all formats and stuff. So what's your view on this?
Yeah, it's kind of funny because I know that there's a lot of talk about like play-by-play and then one person is the expert, but the reality is that if you want to be a caster and you want to be successful, you have to be good at both positions, right? Because the play-by-play needs to be an expert in the sense that they need to know what questions to ask and they need to know like the names of cards, they need to know interactions and things like that. They have to set up the like for like a alley-oop, right? They have to throw the ball in the air in a good way for the other person to catch.
And at the right side of the court.
Yeah.
I fumbled that alley-oop so hard in Eternal Weekend, Callum, when you asked me why is that player casting Brainstorm in response to the surveil trigger of the surveil land. And I didn't get it.
Know. No, I did. Yeah, I was trying to set you up,
Yeah. I didn't. I was anyway.
Yeah, cool.
The alley-oop part is so true, right?
Yeah. I think it's just like speaking what you're thinking, because like the way I formulate, following along a match and watching it is I'll ask myself a question like, oh, why is he doing this here? And then you answer it yourself just to follow along. So if you just verbalize it, you kind of can set it up.
Yeah. But, there's a lot that I could go on about it, but it's reciprocal too, because the expert needs to be able to concisely say the right answer, in a way that gives the play-by-play time to set up the next shot. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like, I think like one thing that I don't mind a little bit of monologuing, but one thing that I think that separates like someone like me from someone like Corey Baumeister, who I would say is maybe like the best caster, like next to like Cedric and like, whatever, is that like, in the same amount of time that it'll take me to say something, Corey will just say it like in a much more elegant way, and he'll also just say it with a bunch more information, like relevant information. So, like, let me give you an example, right? It's like a deck tech. So when I put the deck list on screen, my expectation is that at the beginning of game one, the person will say like, "Hey, look, this is the show and tell archetype. This is what it's trying to do." Right? And a lot of times, like, for example, and Dingo and Meat, if you're hearing this is constructive criticism, but it's like, and I told this to them in the show, I'm like, start off by saying what people are looking at. Like, a lot of the times what they were doing is like, they were like, yeah, this is Yawgmoth, and yeah, looking at the deck here, you've got 2 copies of this, and 3 copies of this, and 4 copies of this, and I'm just like, that's not your audience yet. You haven't even like talked about like what even is a Yawgmoth? Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
That's actually a good point.
Yeah, when you get the 2 young wolves, you just win. Like, how do you win?
Yeah. Like this is a deck that takes the power of Yawgmoth, Ran Physician, alongside creatures that return from the graveyard, blah blah blah, to like infinitely combo and win it in a single turn. Okay, something like that. It's probably a better way you can say it. But like, you got to start with that. And I think it's like the purpose of each segment needs to be like very well understood, and admittedly, like, I don't do a great job saying like this is what I want from this scene. But if I do it, people will respond a bit better. But like deck tech is like, just say what's going on, then we move on to the next deck, you say what's going on, and then like once you get into like the quote unquote start of match where players are like shuffling up and looking at mulligans, then you get a quick like, okay, like this is what's important in this matchup, like this interaction versus this interaction. The bites need to be like short. Like, I think like a 3-minute deep dive into like what a deck is trying to do. Let's be honest here, we live in an age of like doom scrolling and like TikTok and like just like instant gratification. You're gonna lose your audience real fast. So like, you have to constantly move from like the one bit to another bit to another bit to another bit, and divvy up all the information that you want to relay in those bits. So yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky for sure.
As a commentator, the biggest thing is when that kind of information is communicated to you beforehand, because I also used to do commentary when a lot of production was a little bit rougher and you sometimes couldn't even like speak or be spoken to by production, and they would just switch slides at a certain point, and then you arrived at a slide and you didn't know whether they wanted you to like literally just do a 30-second thing or like a 5-minute thing.
Yeah,
and it made it really awkward at times.
Yeah, and so that's one thing that like I realized mid-show, like last week, for example, is like, I never told these guys what exactly I wanted, and I told it to them, and they instantly started doing it, and it was significantly better, and I was like, okay, yeah, this is great. So it's a 2-way street, and I feel like for the upcoming show, Eternal Weekend stuff, that it's imperative that you bully Will into having those conversations and things like that.
Yeah. So yeah, part of that question is like, so this might be a personal thing, but I struggle with if someone's just a color coordinator, and even if they set up the alley-oops very well, I think having two experts in Magic is always how I like to watch it as well. Have you experienced that from viewing feedback or anything? Or have you found out a way that, it works, or is it just better to have a pair?
Yeah, so I'll preface this by saying I'm not 100% sure, but in my personal opinion, of all the expert commentary that I got that weekend, I actually enjoyed what's his name? Callum? Have you heard of that guy before? I enjoyed his expert feed commentary the most because
There's another one?
and that's because of the exact reason that you were saying, right? Which is just all the stuff that you were saying was very detailed, correct, but also very elegantly spoken. You did it all because you were very you were probably the most familiar with the subject matter compared to everybody else. Maybe
I'm a nerd.
Yeah, alongside Andreas, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and I think part of me is maybe that is the direction that you need to have, but then also I think there has to be
there's a limit, I guess.
A limit. You have to have some amount of energy when doing all the you have to build up the audience. That's basically the thing, right? And there are many ways to do it. You can do it somberly, but you if so long as you're explaining the stakes, what's on the line, why things matter, I think that's the most important thing. Then you could probably get away with a little bit less hype.
That's true. It's true. I think if it was just a complete expert, everything they said was genius and the best play, but it was not in an entertaining way, then I'd probably prefer someone just shouting you all the time and being wrong. But yeah, if there's a middle ground, I wasn't fishing for a compliment there at all. I swear.
I wasn't. No. This is. I actually told this to you before, but I also wanted to share it with everyone who's listening. That
it's much appreciated.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I think the big thing is that for a lot of other games FPS games, for example, or League of Legends, it makes sense. There's that phrase shoutcasting, right? Which is you're talking about what's going on, but you get really loud so that you can sort of explain and build up hype and give emphasis to the things that matter. But that doesn't exist in Magic because we're not pulling out guns and bit bopping each other, right?
It's so slow paced. It's unless you're playing Oops against elves or whatever, as we said, but it is slow paced. Matches can be up to an hour long. You're building a story over this 3-game match and stuff, rather than shouting about someone shooting another person.
Are you guys into fighting game broadcasts?
Bits and pieces, yeah.
Yeah, I'm big time into, well, at least for, let's say, Street Fighter and a little bit of Mortal Kombat and Tekken, but Street Fighter particularly. And I've always envied them because I want to say it's an art form at that point, because they do the shoutcasting, they generate insane hype, they speak very quickly, but they're also at the same time, the information they convey is incredibly dense. What they talk about, when you watch these, right? These games are literally about frame trapping somebody. It's just a matter of 5 frames on a 60 frame per second game and everything. And they, at least the top, I want to say 8 commentators or something, there are a lot of amazing ones. They have literally perfected the art form of casting a fighting game tournament, of not overloading you with information you can't process, while still maintaining a really, really good pace of play, and just getting somebody like me who's not very good at fighting games and only has an okay understanding of them to still be insanely hyped for some of the craziest shit that the players pull off. Mm-hmm. And that's amazing. And that I've always wanted something like that in Magic, but as you guys mentioned, we just don't have the pace of play, right? And sometimes, unlike, let's say, I don't know, especially fighting games or even FPS, we don't have that. We have a lot more garbage time, right? So we naturally don't always have that kind of insane moment. But when it happens, let's say Lightning Helix from the top, or Dragonstorm 2007, right, in the semifinals of Worlds, Pat Chapin against Gabriel Nesiflev. These moments, they live in eternity.
It's about being ready for those moments at all times as well. You've got to be aware and on it to be oh my god, this is gonna happen. Oh my god, he drew the
it's Lightning Helix.
Exactly, yeah. He drew the Mystic Forge from the top. Oh my god.
Yeah. Blind flip counterbalance.
Yeah, I think it's the best example I saw was where it was a Smash Brothers one, and the guy was yeah, look at this nice technical skill up air into into a spot dodge into this, and oh, what a sick combo coming up here, and they mixed and matched technical terms with I mean, me, someone who doesn't know anything, layman speak kind of deal, and I was and that's the dream For Magic, it's really tricky. I wonder if there's more inspiration to be taken from like chess commentary where, well, see, the thing about chess too is like even chess is like faster than Magic because you've got like, 5-minute rounds with times and things like that. So like one day there'll be like a format for Magic that's like very quick and very fast. And that's the
best of one, baby. It's coming for us.
I mean, you guys know me, right? I've always said that I want like shorter rounds in Magic and people need to act more on instinct than on calculation. I think Magic is a little bit overloaded with pre-calculation and needs to reward more instinct and intuition. And one of the ways to do that is to like have shorter rounds. But I mean, that's such a big thing. That's like
the game's just getting so much more complex as time goes on as well. So
that's good. Like, I mean, chess is infinite complexity, and we still play like the most popular way of playing chess right now is just like 3 minutes with, I want to say like 5 seconds, and not, I think 2 seconds increment or something.
I think chess is really easy. You just take the king and you win.
Yeah.
No, but the thing is like it's one of the big things why chess streaming and everything got so big is because we play these much shorter time controls, and then also like freestyle chess, but that's a different story. But when you go back, like the first World Championships of Carlsen, like you watched him play against Anand for like 5 hours, and not even 10%, like fewer than 10% of people who watch now are watching. And I mean, part of that is also the streaming is, of course, this is a lot easier and better, but also it's more action paced. And people make more mistakes, and then the other person can't capitalize on the mistake because they didn't anticipate it. And you get to a point where you have a high-level match, and while mistakes happen, it's still amazing.
Yeah, I think you got a good point. Maybe we need to like play this with like double speed, maybe.
The thing is, I would just like love to try that. Like have I'm pulling a number out of my ass, like a 30-minute round. I mean, a big problem with that is, of course, like, I don't know, something like 10 minutes is going to be dedicated to shuffling and sideboarding and like, all these things that we can't do efficiently in paper. But also, you know that I've always said Magic Online 50 minutes is too long because like you have way more time than in paper because of the shock. But anyway, that's a different story. But I would love to see something like that explored for Magic. That's my take on that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
I can totally tell who submitted the next question.
Yeah, so like I was wondering, so like is everyone on social media sees like these pictures where you have like at least 4 or 5 suitcases, at the end of the event. And I was just wondering, like, are there any Magic decks in those suitcases? Like, how many Magic decks do you pack in your suitcase, Anu?
Okay, so I'm gonna spit this one back to the three of you. I want each of you to give me a guess.
Dude, please don't say 0, dude. Please don't say 0.
give me a guess. What do you think I have?
I guess you have
7 suitcases, 10 bags?
I guess you have one very slow control deck and then like one janky deck.
I'm guessing 0.
Oh,
I want to say maybe 1, but I don't think you play it very often, if at all.
I hope it's 2, but I also think 1.
Drum roll.
Okay.
The answer is it's 0. No, it's 0. I don't have space in my bags, guys.
Oh, dude, come on, bro.
It's not even like a by choice thing. It's like I literally cannot fit an extra Magic deck into my backpack. Like it's.
Oh, you've like Tetris everything.
Everything is like Tetris because like at this point it's like I'm flying. Me and Richard, we fly with 10 bags, so that's like 5 Pelicans, 6 Pelicans, and then carry on in a backpack. We have about 500 pounds of luggage in those suitcases. Everything is like delicately measured out so that we can fly for as cheap as possible so that like, our client doesn't have to pay extra fees. Like that's my selling point. One of my selling points is
I would just put a Magic deck fee on your invoices. Just
Oh yeah. Okay, let's see. If I had to charge them that would be probably like $120 to $150. That for just so that I could bring a single Magic deck. You know what I mean? Because it's like
you would never get the time to play.
Yeah, that I would not also just not get the time to play. Yeah, I think it was a combination of those two things. It was like the first shows I did. I was like, okay, I'll bring all my cards. So I did realize I couldn't bring everything. I brought like 3 decks, and then I didn't have time to play. And then I was like, this thing is heavy.
Hold on, let's go back to the first thing, right? Because what do you think? How much weight is a Magic the Gathering deck? A 60 card deck.
Isn't it more about volume?
In grams. Like,
Oh, yeah. That's a good question. I don't think it's more than like 2 or 3 or 4 pounds, but it's like I put it all in my backpack because I'm not going to put that in a suitcase and check it in.
No, I just looked it up. It's 106.5 grams for a 60 card deck, but that excludes a sideboard and probably sleeves too. So you have to, so you need to have like a deck without deck sleeves and a deck box too, and also no sideboard. So like a 60 cards clean.
Nice.
That's 106
Old school
grams.
style. Nice.
Yeah, old school style. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
dude. I don't know if like any airline would I don't know, would talk shit to you about like 106.5 grams in addition.
I mean, you can just like put it into your hands and walk on the plane.
The cutoff for my bags is 70 pounds, and I shit you not. I will send you a photo. The weight of my suitcase was 69.9 pounds.
Kidding
you know, like it's like that's how detailed. So in that instance, an extra 100 grams, I couldn't do it. Like it would go over. It would like, and it's depressing to think about, but then it's also just like that was kind of like one of the things that clicked in my head, which is like, I'm not really here to play Magic anymore. I'm here to like produce the show and then go get dinner with friends. Like I'd rather eat food with you and Julian and Callum than, you know, maybe jam some games of Magic, because we can always log on Magic Online, you know, but like when are we going to ever get to like, you know, get drinks and eat good food and things like that. So
I guess at the end of the day, you do know a lot of people at these events, so like you could always borrow if you really want.
Yeah, that too.
We can cut this if you want. But you remember when you brought your computer to Italy for the GP in 2019 to play League of Legends?
Oh,
So speaking of bringing extra luggage,
yeah, that was a fun GP. I remember I was planning on doing coverage for that, and then like, between getting 2-3 hours of sleep and then the rental that I got, like the camera, the battery, like literally not working.
I remember we went to the tech store, right?
Yeah.
On the day before the GP. Oh, because I literally thought you brought your computer because you wanted to play League of Legends.
No. Well, maybe a little bit, but yeah, like all my equipment just like didn't work, and so what I ended up having to do for that event was like sit in front of the feature match, like behind the little bar, and like type what I saw. And that's where I had like remember when Sahar went like 9-0 that day with Rug Delver? I was like, I was typing furiously, like turn 1 Delver of Secrets, turn 2 Noble Hierarch, turn 3 Green Sun Zenith for blah 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 blah, you know, like all that sort of stuff. It was I remember that event did not go as I was hoping for it to, I'll be honest.
I remember in the evening when we were at dinner, we were all watching your. I think you did somebody stream it to Discord or something? Because Callum, I remember you had your phone out and we were having dinner and we watched Mark Vogt win the finals, and we somehow had like a feed of that.
Oh yeah, I was streaming it in that place. We got like huge bowls of pasta. I remember now. I think someone might have just been like live streaming it on Facebook or something, and I was watching, and we all watched
streaming on Facebook. That's the most random thing.
Yeah, but no, like it was someone doing something like that, or like.
Yeah.
It was not like broadcast out. It was just like someone watching it and videoing it to the side. And then it was like 20 of us gathered around my phone at the table watching as well. Kind of cool
then
story.
Mark broke down when he won.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like an iconic moment where, like, you know, I remember that one made me feel very emotional.
Mm-hmm. Last Legacy GP in history.
What was it? He's like, I'm just a normal Magic player. This is the dream. I'm a normal Legacy player. He's not really, though, is he?
He is not a normal Magic player. Dude, this is just like so much dedication coming out of you. Do you put like the same kind of dedication in all other aspects of your life?
No.
That was a false answer.
Yeah.
Because we had another question. I don't know at which point we wanted to ask that, but before we talk a little bit about the current state of Legacy, I don't want to get too deep into that, honestly. What do you do for fun, like in your free time? Like, which kind of games do you currently play? Like, what's a typical gaming session for Anuraag does?
Yeah, it's a good question. I thought I would play video games till the day I die, and these days I just don't have time. It's weird. I like I've been getting all my Riftbound stuff. The show that's coming up in 3 weeks, it's like my routine is like wake up at 6:30 either for my son or my first meeting in the day. Then work until like 2, 3, or 4, and then from 4 until like 7, it's like hang out with my son for, you know, as long as I can, and then he goes to bed, and then after that it's like work until 12 on the next show, or like this next piece of code, or like this next piece of thing, and then rinse and repeat, and then rinse and repeat, and then rinse and repeat. And like occasionally, like with Riftbound, I've been putting off my work. That's what I've been doing to play these games. But yeah, it's there's not enough time in the day, there's not enough time in the year. I don't know. If I was playing games though, like I was looking at like like the ones that fascinate me are like there was like the new Silent Hill game that came out. I've been watching Dispatch. I haven't been playing it. Like those kind of things. Like some AAA games are kind of fun. That's what actually like relaxes me. That's what I would do in my downtime. But there's a lot of games that are just like Black Myth Wukong. I played like maybe 50-60% of it and then just never had time to get back to it. It's just the reality of growing up, I suppose.
Yeah. And when you log into Steam and you're like, how did I spend up like 80 hours in that game? I don't even remember playing it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I guess with that kind of like, you're not calling it a hobby anymore. I guess this is like a proper second thing that you do. And having a child, I think there's only so many hours left for you to do stuff. Before we close this out, I want to quickly touch on Legacy because in my heart, you still are one of the pillars of Legacy, at least historically. How familiar are you with the state of the format right now?
Yeah, this is where I might say something kind of soul-crushing, but I have not played a match of Legacy in...
Can we guess?
Yes.
2 years?
I say 1.
I said 2 years.
I know the same answer as Dex. No, just kidding.
Okay. No. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. Like it's been like 6 months or 7 months or something, and that's not because like
that's not too bad.
It's well, you know, considering how like I would play like literally every day, like I am kind of disappointed, but that's also just like less of an issue with like how busy I am and more of a like if I had the option, I just don't think I would because I haven't been particularly happy with a lot of things.
That's quite fair.
Yeah, like format health, and then I didn't think I would get whittled down by it, but just like there's too many sets for me, and like the Universes Beyond stuff is fine. I don't particularly care too much about that, but it's just like I'm like overwhelmed, and I'm not really happy with like some of the BNR choices and things like that. I'm not gonna get too much into it, but like yeah, I haven't been motivated to play, and that's actually the real thing that bugs me.
I mean, that's a place where a lot of people are right now. Actually, earlier today, a friend of mine who doesn't play that often went to another Legacy event just recently, and she was like soul crushed by how bad it was. Like, not the people, not the organization, just like the gameplay. And I feel like a lot of people are feeling that way. And I've been, for example, for me, I've been around for almost the entire history of the format, except for like the first 1.5 years. And while the current state is not the most broken one with regards to like, I don't know, what did we have like during COVID, Underworld Breach and stuff? Like,
Oko
we're not broken in that way, but it's just like the most rancid gameplay we've had in a very long time. So, yeah. I mean, many of us are there. At
5 days, guys. 5 days, copium.
Yeah, we will see.
In a more positive note, I have sent you, Julian, a photo and sent it to Callum and Kaya, but it's like, This is what my locals is doing, like nearby. They have recreated all the decks from 2017, proxies and all, and you can literally see like there's Ad Nauseam, there's Elves, there's Burn, some True Name Bug from the Reed Duke deck from a long time ago.
Hell yeah.
Grixis Delver. And then
I top-8 Eternal Weekend with that deck before Reed, by the way.
Ooh, okay. Let him know.
It's okay.
And I like that they labeled. I didn't even know they did this. They labeled the Miracles deck. They called it Miracles Anu, and I was like, oh, that's funny as all hell. Yeah. So that must be the one with Predicts, and then there's another one that has like Eli's version, which is like more Mentor and Stompy and stuff. Yeah.
I really, really miss Predict Miracles. Like, God, it was fun to play.
I just missed that whole time, man. You know,
yeah,
like,
it was good times.
I'd rather take, okay, I don't know if this is an unhinged thing to say, but I'd rather take Gitaxian Probe Pyromancer over like what we're at right now. I don't know.
You know what? That deck was so much more broken than I think we realized at the time, but it felt kind of okay in a weird way. I feel like because it's a fair deck, you can always fight against it more, whereas combo you can't. Combo grinds you down more. And having combo winters be like 3 winters is that's what grinds you down.
Yeah.
I've got a question. You can try and guess who it's from, but you probably have read in the show notes. It's how many Tundras do you play in Miracles, and does that make you feel old?
Dude, that's actually crazy.
This is from Francis.
Okay. Hey, what's up, Francis? Yeah, I I remember it was always 3, but then they printed Meticulous Archive, and then I cut 1, and then like my deck became more green than white, and so I think I've only got like 100 in my deck, which is like, oh man, that's like a.
He's gonna tell you off for calling a deck with green in it miracles, but yeah,
yeah, that's a moment for intervention. I gotta throw some more tundras back in there.
Get those
the
Urus and
Miracles
Flages out
Cabal,
of your deck.
they banished you from the format. That's why you haven't been that involved.
Yeah.
What's the green miracle again? It's the one that gives like plus might, right? Plus power.
There's
Trample, I believe.
There's 2 actually. There's one that goes +6/+6, and the creature has to be blocked, if possible, and another one that goes 4/1/1 counters.
Oh,
It's horrible.
Yeah, I don't remember what it's called though.
Blessings of Nature was the 4/1/1 counters, I think, and the other one was like Revenge of the Hunted.
Oh my god, you're so good. This is why I enjoyed your casting so much, Callum, because you know everything that needs to be known. Yeah. Anyways, all right, cool. Anyways, sorry.
Every now and then, Julian throws out like a demon from 1995 that I don't know. So.
But we still haven't talked about my favorite demon of the month, but we're gonna do that.
Oh shit, we need to stop having guests. Yeah.
Yeah. But we will get into that.
I hope you're ready.
So, very quickly, I know, where are you headed? Like, turn off your brain for a moment, turn off your, I don't know, doubts or whatever you have. Where do you want to take all of your broadcast production thing? Like, what would be the biggest thing that you would want to get to in the next, go crazy 5 years, 10 years? I don't know.
Yeah, so right now, like, I know what I want, which is to do more of this, but at a higher level. So I feel like Magic, like the space is kind of saturated in terms of what I can do, right? Star City Games does a lot of the premier events, and I don't know if there's a place for me in that workflow, which is not a bad thing necessarily because they do such a good job. But that means that I want to start looking out to other games like Lorcana, Star Wars. Riftbound is the big one. Riftbound has completely consumed me. And I
looked at the YouTube because I wanted to be like a good podcast host and prepare myself, and I saw so many Riftbound videos. I wanted to ask you about that game, but I mean that's probably like another episode. But you seem to be like really deep into that.
I'm all in. I think the game is very fun to play. There's a little bit of balance issues, but I have faith that it'll get figured out. And it's also set 1, so it's like that. But yeah, like you said, that's a different time, different day kind of conversation. But yeah, I think for me mostly it's like I have a very good product, and now I need to find more use cases for it. And I told myself in 2025 I want to do more from a business perspective, because at the end of 2024 I was like, I think we're in a good spot with a lot of what we have product wise, but now we need to like sell the product and things like that. And like, even though I haven't been successful in like all my ventures, I think it's a good eye-opening thing, because like now I'm at the point where I'm competing with these companies that have done like $1 million productions and things like that. Like, and it's kind of crazy to think that I'm all the way already here, but like I realize just like I gotta keep stepping it up if I'm gonna be competitive and things like that. So just more games, more opportunities, show people what I can do.
Here's a little alley-oop. What is Riftbound? Because I don't actually know.
Well, there you go.
You happen to ask.
You're gonna submit it to the producers and gonna cash in on that? Okay, so great.
Yeah, Riftbound is the new League of Legends TCG. It came out actually October 31st, so less than 5 days ago. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, just came out. Cool.
Yeah, and it's a very sweet game that is based off of the League of Legends IP. If the way that I would explain it is that it takes a lot of pieces from a lot of other games. So you have like locations from Marvel's Snap. You have companions from Magic. You have a mana system similar to One Piece and Hearthstone. And you've even got like a pseudo commander, but they've like fixed a lot of the problems. Like, I'm saying a lot of words that might trigger people, but like they fixed a lot of the problems that I've personally experienced. And that's what like makes me so optimistic about this game, is like you have devs who are like actively in Discords talking to people like daily. You have they're taking your feedback and things like that. They have access to like some of the best pros in the game from various games, playing and battling, and all the signs are kind of pointing Riftbound to the moon. And
cool.
The big thing is I'm having a lot of fun playing it. So.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I had no idea it was League of Legends, so I just saw the name on your channel a bunch. Cool.
Cool. So we hear your kid in the background looking for his dad. think that's a good way to close out the show tonight. Is there anything else you guys want to ask? Or Anu, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah. I want to know everything about upcoming Eternal Weekend coverage. I know you guys are looking forward to that. Anything that I can help with that regard, let me know. Yeah.
Oh yeah, any chance you want to fly over on short notice and just hang out with us?
Let me ask my wife about that real quick.
Yeah, well, bring her along. It's just like an additional business expense, business flight, easy. Let's do it. No, that would be amazing. Like, it would actually be great to see you again. Right now, traveling to the US is kind of dicey, but we will see. Would love to. Good, everybody. So, thank you so much once again, Mr. Anuraag Das, coming on the show tonight. Always love catching up with you, Anu. Really excited to see where you're going to go, because you sure are going to go places. I'm not going to say who that told me, but somebody recently told me that
to convention centers he's going to.
No. Don't want to make this too dramatic, but I talked to somebody in the greater Magic space the other day, and that person told me that he always thought about Anuraag specifically as like a person who will go places, and like catching up with you, it seems like you very much are. And yeah, I've always felt the same about you, dude. So great catching up with you. And everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to support the running of the show, you can support us on patreon.com/everydaychannel. Callum Kai, I think we're going to sign off. And with that, see you again later this month. I think we might get in one more episode before Eternal Weekend Europe.
Yeah.
You're there.
Cool. Oh, yeah.
Cool. See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.